Hey folks, it's Dominique and welcome back. I'm going to be talking Spoonie reviews today, and you know me, you know how I like to leave, positive reviews for small businesses, especially businesses that are Spoonie friendly. Unfortunately, today is not going to be that, and I really, believe me when I say I'm really sorry that that's the case. I don't particularly want to leave this review. It's not something I'm happy about. It's not something that makes me feel good in any way. But I'm going to leave it nonetheless. And I'm really sorry that this situation occurred. Okay, so I'm going to read you all the review that I just left on Yelp last night after a really bad experience there with my Spoonie friend and myself. I really don't know how to classify this experience, so I guess I'll just go ahead. The restaurant is called Bold American Fare. It's in Algonquin, Illinois. And, my intent here is not in any way to slam a business. I have conflicted feelings about leaving poor reviews for small businesses because I know how hard it is to run a business. And I totally understand that not every client is going to be satisfied. I'm usually very willing to give people, the benefit of the doubt, a chance to rectify any, wrongdoing or any sort of bad service or misunderstanding. Maybe they just had a bad day. Maybe, there was a mistake made. I'm really somebody who's very willing to see that side of things. And I tried so hard last night to see that side of things. Unfortunately, that just didn't happen. I'm just, my head is kind of spinning from this experience still. So without further ado, here is my Yelp review, and I may or may not comment further on that review. I just wanted to kind of put it out there as an episode of my show so that folks who are listening for Spoonie reviews can go ahead and maybe help this to inform any decisions that they make about what businesses they patronize. So, my review. Just spoke to the chef after my friend and I ate dinner here at Bold American Fare. I've been coming to Bold American Fare since I've lived down the street at Riverside Plaza. I don't mind mentioning where I live. It's high security. It's really safe. So, context, right? This experience was by far one of the worst experiences my friend and I have ever had at a restaurant. After serving my friend a raw, $24 piece of salmon, and my friend sending it back politely, the chef sent her a tiny little piece of salmon that was a fraction of what it was supposed to be. It honestly looked like a gross, dried up hunk of chicken. When we asked to speak to an owner or manager, I guess the owner was there because he seated us and we saw him. Unfortunately, he wasn't the one that came out to take our complaint. The chef, who is apparently part owner as well, came out to our table and unfortunately just went, whole hog into the abusive behavior, where he berated my friend for raising the question of why they couldn't replace the piece of uncooked salmon they originally served her with a comparably sized piece of cooked salmon, right? Pretty intuitive. You give somebody the wrong order or the wrong thing, you give them something comparable to replace it, right? Or you give them what they ordered. Seems pretty intuitive to me. But rather than offering a discount, or taking the item off the menu if there wasn't enough to go around, taking the item off of our bill, or simply offering her a similarly sized, appropriately cooked $24 piece of salmon, the chef, and here's where the issue begins, folks. The chef berated her and tried to railroad her into rescinding her complaint. He started out with a very hostile attitude. He leaned down and got into our faces, hers in particular. She physically had to lean away from him and move her chair because he was in her face. He told my friend in no uncertain terms that he would have to cut a whole new piece for her to give her the item she ordered and paid for, and that he didn't want to do that. He made it very clear that she wasn't worth that. That is what he told us. It wasn't worth it to do that. So she'd pay the same amount of money, but it wasn't worth it for him to cut the appropriate piece of salmon. So essentially, because of his mistake, she is paying $24 for a little dried up, tiny little, 3 to 4 ounce hunk of salmon versus the 8 to 10 ounce piece that she originally got that was uncooked. Seems kind of weird, right? So I told him, because I witnessed sort of the abuse, and I've never seen my friend do this. She almost kind of cowered away, and I have never seen her do that, and I was just so appalled at the treatment that she was receiving. So I told him that his attitude was very disrespectful, and that as a business owner myself, I would just never, ever treat a client that way or a customer that way. It just wouldn't happen, no matter how, angry or irritated or pissy I was feeling that day. It just wouldn't happen. Who knows whether this treatment was based in some sort of prejudice. I'm not going to mention what sort of prejudice may have been involved, but it's possible that there was some, and we'll leave it at that. Possible that there was some. Or if he's just a special kind of dick. And I did write this in my review because he truly was, folks. I'm not going to mince words. But this is totally unacceptable. Abusive people do not belong in business, period. In fact, they don't belong anywhere. He could have simply served my friend a replacement piece of $24 salmon. But the piece he gave her, after she sent back the one which was uncooked, was less than a quarter of the size of the original uncooked piece my friend received, and was nothing even resembling the item in the menu. I mean, it really wasn't. And the chef explained to my best friend, as he thrust himself into her space and got in her face, that it simply wasn't worth it, like I said, for him to cut an appropriately sized piece to replace the one that he fouled up originally. And then my friend would simply have to deal with it, while still paying the same price. A respectable establishment would have offered my best friend a recompense of some sort, taking it off the bill, like I said, giving her a free coupon or a free drink, or just a 5% off coupon, or, God, an apology, Essentially, the way that the chef explained it, he has a large piece of salmon, which he must cut the end off of in order for it to be the size of the item that's offered on the menu. But what he did was take the 8 to 10 ounce piece of salmon that he'd neglected to cook and give my best friend back the tiny little 3-4 ounce snippet that he'd cut off the end. And he expects her to pay the same price. This is ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. $24 for that tiny little scrap of salmon. Are you kidding me? I'm absolutely horrified on my best friend's behalf. The look on her face while interacting with this chef just gutted me. I was so upset on her behalf. She's an absolutely amazing person. Let me tell you, this woman is awesome. She's like a gift to this world. She's been an amazing friend to me. She's a caregiver. She works also a job in the service industry, interestingly enough, at a restaurant. So she knows her stuff. We're both working people. We saved up for a nice meal. This was my first outing since recovering from a serious back injury. And my friend, like I mentioned, works several jobs. And we hoped to be able to treat ourselves and just enjoy a nice meal and sit down and chill and, talk and have a nice time on a nice night. My best friend, like I said, is truly a kind person. She does work as a server when she's not working hospice and assisting elderly folks and their loved ones in their time of passing in her caregiving job. So she's really a good person. She doesn't deserve this kind of treatment. She's a ride or die friend. She's just not that anybody deserves that treatment, but if anyone does, it ain't her. Okay? This is the person that this gentleman chooses to be just disgustingly rude to. That upset me so much. She just doesn't deserve this. Like I said, nobody does. I just highly recommend that people find another business in the area that they would prefer to patronize. My friend and I were talking after the incident, and we were thinking maybe just, continue going to Cooper's Hawk, maybe go to Bonefish, So it's really unfortunate that this small business has kind of turned us so off of their product and their brand, because it's sending us to the big, chain restaurants. I mean, I'm not somebody who wants to patronize big chain restaurants. I'd rather patronize a small business. I will say that the owner, this person messaged me on Facebook and tagged me when they saw my review this morning. Not quite sure what they were trying to kind of get across, because it came through as like a mix of, no, he totally behaved appropriately, and, oh, I'm really sorry that you were disappointed in that, and like, hopefully you'll give us another chance in the future. But I mean, if you're telling me that you stand by this kind of behavior, obviously I'm not able to give you another chance in the future. I would love to, but not after that, This man put his bulk, he was a larger gentleman, nothing wrong with that, but he put his bulk just into my friend's space. He put his face in her face. He became rather, how do I put this kindly? He became rather upset, and just, the way that this looked, at least to me, sitting across the table, was similar to that of like an abusive boyfriend getting in their girlfriend's face, or an abusive husband getting in their wife's face. It was really kind of disturbing. And unfortunately, on top of that, this chef, who I guess is apparently co-owner from what he said, went into the back behind the bar, gave us the death stare the entire time he was back there, which don't intimidate me any, tell you that much. Wrong person to fool with. Okay. I don't take kindly to abusive behavior. And just sat there. We could hear him talking about us back there. The restaurant could hear him talking about us back there. Not appropriate. I'm not sure where this gentleman was coming from. I'm trying to give him some sort of benefit of doubt in some regard, that perhaps he is going through divorce. Perhaps he's quitting smoking. Perhaps he just had a really rough day. But you don't act that way with people. I've been running my business for over 10 years, and I have never spoken to a client that way. It wouldn't happen. So I hope that this review is of some help, of some benefit. Like I said, I am not here to badmouth anybody. I hate that this is the review that I have had to leave. We tried numerous times while we were there to get a resolution to the matter at hand, and as I mentioned, we didn't get so much as, a kind glance. We didn't get an apology. We didn't get a, hey, sorry that you didn't care for this experience. We didn't get, here's 5% off on one item, and it's a good coupon for a week. We didn't get, anything until we complained on social media. To me, that doesn't say we care about the individual customer. That says we don't want a social media influencer telling people how bad our service is. It's what it says to me. Despite this situation, I do wish that business the absolute best of luck. I wish them all the best things, and I really hope that their behavior and their customer service and their service will improve, because this is a 5-star restaurant, you guys. or it's supposed to be. This is not Mickey D's. This is a 5-star restaurant, and that sort of behavior is just not acceptable. A really good friend of mine has managed and waited at 5-star restaurants for years, and he's shared some of the policies with me, and he's shared some of the things that you are supposed to do as a manager, as a server, with me. And apparently, from what I hear from him and from what I know from running a service business myself, is that you're supposed to say, something along the lines of, I'm really sorry that you had this experience, or, hopefully you'll give us another chance in the future while we're there at the restaurant, not later on, but while we're there, when we're giving you the opportunity to do so, you're supposed to make it right, and that wasn't done. So we really do, I should just speak for myself. I don't know what my friend feels, but I do wish them the best. I hope their customer service improves. I do hope that this is not who this business is. I hope that we just experience them on an off day. I won't be back, though, and neither will my best friend. So I'm really sorry to have to leave this review. I like leaving good reviews, especially for small businesses, and this really kind of breaks my heart. But thanks for tuning in, folks, and be well.